Happening now, Liberal MPP and education critic John Fraser is launching a campaign called Schools Belong to Families, not Queen's Park. Let's listen in live.
And didn't work very well. So I go back to like Ontario Health. Can you say that healthcare is better than it was 7 years ago? It's not. I mean, objectively, 2.5 million people don't have a family doctor. That's worse. Right? The wait times are increasing. If you look at what's happened in home care over the last 7 years and what's happening right now, it's a disaster. That was a great centralization, and the Ontario health teams don't really know what their role is. So there's no question you need to look at governance. No question about that at all. You always have to do that. I mean, without going on too long, like if you want to look at governance, maybe you should look at governance at Queen's Park, right? We have a government that, well, did we say let's send everything to Ottawa because Doug Ford spent 2 years trying to give the Greenbelt to his friends, right? Or we have a government that does legislation so quickly that it has to do 6 pieces of housing legislation to try and get it right. There's no question we have to do that. So we have to figure out how are we going to do that. But the government, I'm not sure, has set local schools and local school boards up for success. If you don't actually give the boards in real dollars at least what they were getting before, how can you expect them to do better? And then we have a problem with violence in our schools. Right? What's the government really doing about that other than saying we need more police in schools? Well, I'm not sure that at my sister's school, where she's a EA, needs police in schools for a 6 and 7 and 8-year-old that's committing an act of violence, which is what's happening. It's not just our elementary schools, it's our high schools.
Do you think, what the minister said, that this system is outdated? Do you think that the system is working? Do you think that it's
No, I think it needs to be improved. And I think what the government has to look at seriously is not just a governance review for school boards. And what are we asking people to do in terms of their commitment and time, and how are we supporting them? If you're giving them less money in real dollars than you were 7 years ago, if you are saying to people, you can't close any schools, and we know that's going to cost you more money, but we're not going to give you more money. And we're going to actually financially constrain you. That makes it hard to do your job. I mean, I think anybody would say that. So, the government the government really has not been focused on education. Otherwise, you wouldn't see the results that we have right now. The violence in schools, right? Growing classrooms. Children with special needs actually not getting what they need. The government's got a lot of work to do. And what Doug Ford likes to do is point the finger. Just has a hard time lifting a finger to do the things that are needed to be done and the things that are important.
Do you think the government's trying to privatize education? That was an accusation from EDFO's president today.
No, I think that'd be a third rail. I think what they'd like to do is just have total control over all decisions. Just do it right out of Queen's Park, right here in downtown Toronto. It won't work. It won't work. Local matters in education. In Ottawa, about 10 or 15 years ago, there was a local initiative that's called the STEP program. And what it was is we had a challenge with addictions and mental health in schools. So the 4 school boards and the government and the city all got together and provide counseling and treatment, actually, in schools. It works. It raised graduation rates. It wasn't being done anywhere else in Ontario, but it got done because the local voice said, we need to make this happen. And you need that. Schools are important. We have almost 5,000 schools and 2 million students. And you're going to run that all from somewhere in the precinct here or somewhere on Bay Street or University Avenue? I don't think so.
If the government's going to be doing a reform of the education system, how do you think that they should address the Anglo education side and the French education side? Do you think they should be differentiated and treated differently, considering that Article 23 protects self-governance for
one of the differentiations we have is that we have separate governance of French school boards, of French schools in communities. It's already there. I mean, it's been, 30 years since we did a commission on education? This is a very top-down approach. And quite frankly, it's happening because the government wants to deflect from their record in education. And so the whole idea is, well, let's just throw the baby out with the bathwater. And they did that with Ontario Health. And what happened was we have worse results. Things didn't get better, they got worse. So I think what would be a good thing to do is to actually bring people together and sort of how are we going to do this? It's been 30 years since we did a commission on education in this province. I mean, a lot of things have changed. What's going to happen with AI? All this stuff's coming at us really fast. We have a big problem with violence in our schools. And when we say violence, it's a very strong word. But what it means is that, maybe a 7 or 8-year-old or 5-year-old acts out. And it's happening very regularly in our elementary schools. I know this, not just because I'm told it. I have, my sister works in a school. And so there's a problem with violence in our schools. There's something that's going on with mental health and special needs, children not getting what they need. There's a problem. And the government solution is, well, let's just take it all in. It's not going to work, right? It won't work.
Just to be clear, are you calling for?
All right, we've been listening to Liberal MPP and education critic John Fraser launching a campaign. It's called Schools Belong to Families, Not Queen's Park. Fraser says the government hasn't really been focused on education. He's citing violence in schools, growing classrooms, says kids with special needs aren't getting what they need. He's also accusing the government of trying to have control of all decisions and says, quote, it will not work. This comes after the education minister announced a provincial takeover of a number of school boards accused of financial mismanagement.